Happy February and welcome to another tune of the month. I am super excited about the tune I have for you this month. This is a march, but it's not the usual like stately, almost rhythmically square marches that you would expect to hear coming out of Scotland and places like this. This is a march that we use for contra dancing here in New England, and it's totally different because it's very slinky and sly and I don't know, whatever word does this. It's by the awesome Keith Murphy, and it's called The Reign of Love. Here it is. And that's the tune. All right, if you're just listening, thanks as always for stopping by. And if you're ready to play, let's dive into this. Okay, so we're going to be talking mostly about bowing this month because, as you probably observed, the really slinky bowing is kind of the key to this tune. Last month we were working on the big little bowing distribution, right, where when you have a group of 3 notes, the first uses a lot of bow, the big, and the second and third use a smaller amount, the little. We were talking about it as applied to jigs, but it is also in play this month in this tune. So, let's first get the architecture of it. I'll slow the A section down. Here we are. We're in E minor, and it's really only using the first 5 notes of the scale with the pickup below. Now, the thing to do is to start listening for places to use the big little bowing, and I'll give you a clue. They sound like the very first thing that happens. Big little. Did you see how I distributed that? Right, up the scale, and it continues into a slur. Big little slur. That's your part 1. Big little slur, long, long. So you can notice how I'm really using different amounts of my bow to shape that line. Big little slur, long. Part 2. Big little. So there, that second part. Big little land, da, da. It's a really cool kind of hemiole thing that Keith has built there. There are lots of ways to bow it, but the thing to look for is big little. Now I go up, so I can again, big little. Right? And I want to end it, so I'm ready to go down bow for the next part 1. So, a couple ways I can bow that, all separate. Big little up, big little up, down, up. Or coming out of it. That's something to really play around with. There are a bunch of different options. But getting the big little part in on that key figure, da 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 da, becomes really important. Okay? So that's part 2. Then we go back to part 1. We already know it. Big little slur, long, long. That's easy. Here's the ending. Big little slur. I'll do it again. Ending. Big little slur. And that's the whole A section. Let's put it together. Focus on your bowing. Little slur, long, long. Part 2. So that bowing on part 2 that I did is a little sneakier. Big little slur, little big slur. I'll do that again. Big little slur. Keep going up bow. And little big. So you notice that gives a totally different feel from the all separate bowing before. I suggest you learn both. And as I said, experiment, find your own, because how you vary the bowing in that part 2 can really create a lot of variation to the tune without changing the notes or the left-hand ordinance. Alright, so that's the whole A section. If you want to do some more work with it, go ahead and rewind the video. You can replay any part you like as many times as you like. I'm going on to the B section, a little bit slowly. Keep an eye on the bowing. So you probably saw it's very similar to the A section, part 1, part 2, part 1 ending. It's the same ending, cloud ending. And while I have a bowing that I really use for part 1, part 2 I switch it up to create some variation. But let's first get into the tune. I have 2 pickups. That's part 1. I'll do it again. Now, did you catch the unusual bowing I'm doing there? I have my pickups are separate. Now the downbeat goes down, up with a lift. And that A ties over 4-1 into the next bar. It's such cool writing. And down, up, down, tie. Down, tie, little slur is how I'm coming out of that. So if I use my weird bowing words, and down, up, down, tie, little slur. Do it one more time. And now here comes part 2. Yeah, it's a cool one, isn't it? You probably heard it starts with a big little slur, like we're getting used to. Big little slur. Now here's the fun part. Right now I'm slurring 2 and 2. Down, up, down, up. I'll do it again with that bowing. And then back to part 1. And the ending you already know from the A section. Big little slur. Look how fast you can learn it! Don't you love those cloud endings that carry over from section to section? Let's put the whole B section together. And down, up, down. differently in that part too. Again, totally changes the feel. Big, little. I took those middle slurs out. Big, little. Now instead of slurring here, up, down, up. Just like the part 2 of the A section, the only requirement is hit those big littles. If you slur them over, they start to really change the feel of the tune. Hit the big littles and make sure that you finish that part going up bow so you're ready to start the next part 2 down bow. That's the important stipulation, because you want to start, generally as a rule, every part going down bow on the downbeat with gravity. That's how you feel really comfortable in your bowing. When we start a section up bow against gravity, it's either a very special exception bowing or it's just plain uncomfortable, because who wants to fight gravity? You're not gonna win, unfortunately. All right, so hopefully that gives you some ideas to play around with. Absolutely come up with your own bowings, but the idea of how you use the bow lengthwise with different amounts, the distribution, is what really gives shape to awesome tunes like this. I hope you enjoyed playing around with it. If you want to see some sheet music, my chicken scratch handwriting of how I play the tune, you will already have that in your inbox if you're a member of my email newsletter. If you're not a part of that newsletter yet, you can go to my website, www.mariblack.com, and sign up, and you'll get sheet music for all future tunes of the month coming right smack to your inbox. All right, folks, I hope you have a great time jamming this, and I will see you next month.